known Thomas probably for nearly 20 years now. I first started to collect his work, as I say, about 20 years ago. I admired his work because it had a, as I say, a slightly surreal, otherworldly feeling about it. It's hard to describe what attracts one to an artwork because it's mainly an emotional response, but I found what he's doing is different, it's exciting, and it really resonated with me. I met him a few years afterwards, and then we spent a lot of time together when he was working in Venice, as I was there too as the Australian Commissioner for the Venice Biennale. So we became good friends in a beautiful setting of Venice. And subsequently I invited him to come and do a project for us, and I was extremely happy that he accepted.
But I just remember that there was a collector in Australia who kind of kept buying my films, and I was quite curious to see who would buy. Like I made films as well as photographs, and I was kind of curious to find out who would actually buy all these films, you know. And then at some point, it's kind of found out it's from Kaldor, and then I met his girlfriend and now wife, and she said, and I said, like, I don't know why he's buying all these films. You know, I would buy one if I was a collector, and that's fine. And then she said, no, he's really relaxing. He comes home, puts the film on, and watches your film for an hour or two, and the films are like not longer than a second, and then they repeat. So, and it really calms him down, and it's kind of, it's like a wellness thing for him, you know. And I thought, that's really interesting, and that's how I thought, like, oh, you know, Mr. Kaldor is probably quite an eccentric, interesting person to meet, and then, you know, our paths crossed eventually several times, and we became, you know, friends. And then at some point he invited me to do a project here, and I did 2 site visits before that, just to find out what would be possible, what would be. The scheduling was a little difficult, so it kind of took us, I think, in all 4 years until we got it going.
Thomas's work in this project, the Dailies, differs from his normal subjects. Normally he takes, as I said, historical events or some interesting current events and recreates those. The Dailies are like momentary sightings. He would walk past the street and see something on the street, a discarded coffee cup or an ashtray full of cigarette butts. Something would appeal to him, photograph those quite randomly, and then would recreate these.
So the photographs are found all over the place. One is in Japan in a gym, one is in Melbourne doing a site visit, one is here in Sydney walking along the street, one is from France. There's like 2 from Berlin, one is the FedEx office in LA, and you know, like, it's just like basic places you pass by, simply where you just, with no intention whatsoever, you walk by and you suddenly think like, oh, this is actually really formally quite interesting as a, you know, it doesn't mean more than that, but it's actually a picture. And so I collected photographs like these for years and years on my iPhone or whatever camera I had with me, like I think everybody does, and that's a type of photograph which, you know, explains itself. It's all over the place. I believe everybody is doing them. And I just wanted to do something with that material. And so usually I would kind of scan, you know, that kind of memory of like 3,000-4,000 pictures. You just do without no purpose, you know, like there's nothing you can really do with them, except, you know, I rebuild them in my studio in LA, and do some of them in Berlin still. In life size, I would make them into sculptures, photograph them outside quite often, like on the street or something, and just reenact exactly the point of time when I saw this for the first time, and have a look whether this revisiting that same thing would still make sense a year, 2 years later, or something completely in a different context. And that's how they came about. And what you see as a work of art on a wall is basically now a revisiting of a memory which is only kind of fixed in a photograph which has been done without an intention. So it's kind of complex but really simple at the same time.